You're a big time procrastinator, aren't you? And you feel like you just can't do anything about it? Well, as you watch me draw this today, learn some very practical tips and strategies to help you blast through your procrastination and do what you were put on this earth to do. Because you can overcome this. Now let's examine some core issues and misconceptions that you're definitely struggling with from being a procrastinator. Because when you're procrastinating and when people know that you're a procrastinator, what happens to you? You get labeled, and you get labeled as you're lazy, you just don't want to do anything, you can't get off your butt, you're never accomplishing your dreams, you won't move out of your mom's basement, and you just don't care either, right? You just don't care about what you're doing. Oh, you just don't care enough. And all of that is so misperceived and it's just false, okay? So if you're struggling with this right now, and tell me if this is you, it really actually doesn't help you to think that way, nor to be called that, because all that does is just further ingrain you into this identity as a procrastinator. Did you know that? And so what I wanna just shed some light on is the fact that that's not true at all. You do care. The issue though, is that oftentimes procrastinators actually care too much. And when you care about what you have planned, when you care about what you want to do, or that project, or that commission, or that destiny that you want to run towards, it's not that you don't care about it, it's just that you care to such a degree that you're a little paralyzed by it. But here's the thing, is that because you care so much, it's easier for you to take no action than to take action and be disappointed by it. Because at the core of what procrastination is a mask for your insecurity, because you're not sure what you're gonna do is gonna work out. You're not sure that what you're actually striving for is actually going to be fruitful for you. And all of that, my friend, is just enveloped in massive insecurity and doubt and fear and anxiety. And I'm gonna give you some real practical tips and strategies as we go through this video so that you can knock through this. But listen, the whole reason that anybody procrastinates is only for two reasons. It's either to protect themselves from pain, or it's something that they're gonna deem as unnecessary or unimportant. And for you, art is important, isn't it? But if you're a procrastinator on your artwork, the reality is just that it's going to shield you from disappointment from putting off what you need to do rather than investing into it. And if you wanna invest into it, here's what you need to start to realize. Now, as you're procrastinating, you're definitely going to start to take a look at what you want to do. Maybe it's a big personal project. You want to start that manga. Maybe you want to start that animation project. Maybe you want to start to create some concept art because you want to go work for Blizzard or Riot, right? And you're going to take a look at that task and you're just going to go, oh, that's a lot to do, right? Have you ever done this? The reason why this is so hard for you to overcome isn't the task, but it's just the fact that you're overwhelmed thinking about the entire task. You're thinking about the entire project, and you're thinking about all 28 pages of your comic, and you're thinking about the entire release of your Etsy shop, and you're thinking about the entire portfolio that you have to make for this or that. And to give you an analogy on how to overcome this, just think about it like this. You don't sit down at a steak dinner, put the fork in, and then shove it into your mouth all in one bite, do you? Right? No, heck no. You don't sit down in front of a piece of chicken and just go, oh my God, this is so much. I can't do it. It's just so overwhelming. Oh man, my anxiety is really ticking up right now. Of course you don't. So therefore, if you sit there and you apply that same exact strategy that you know what to do with it into your artwork, it will automatically just annihilate all those feelings. What you gotta do is just take baby steps towards it, okay? You're not gonna take a look at your entire project. You're not gonna take a look at the entire portfolio. You're not gonna take a look at the entire comic you have to do and sit there and be overwhelmed by it all. No, friend. Instead, just take a look at what are the smallest steps that I can take, and we'll talk about what that can be in a minute, but just what are some baby steps I can do? Because if you start to take a look at things in smaller chunks, it's so much easier to tackle. And then one of the things that I tend to really recommend a lot of people do, and they have a lot of success with this, is to just create a big, huge itemized list. You can do this one in two formats. You can either just list it all out in bullet points, or if you're more of a type B person, go ahead and create some sticky notes with each individual task, and you kind of just put it all up over a wall or a bulletin board, whatever you got there. When you start to view it like that, it makes it so much easier for your brain to compartmentalize. This is what I have to do in order to start to work on it. And then you don't feel that resistance of procrastination telling you like, oh, it's so much, you're never gonna do it. Because you can take a look at it and be like, I do that, I do that, I do that. And in the same frame of thought as your food analogy, you're not gonna look at the entire plate, you're just gonna look at each individual bite. Try it out. Now, at certain points, you are just gonna get slammed with those feelings of procrastination. You are just going to be consumed by doubt. And listen, I totally understand you. I doubted that I could ever do anything on this platform. I doubted I could ever get clients. I doubted I could ever get what I currently have right now. I doubted that I could ever have a family. But one of the best things that you can ever do, and I learned that you can start to channel your energy in the right and positive direction, is execute what I call 5-minute decisions. You've got your entire assembled list of here's every little thing that I can do, okay? And I don't just mean, by the way, of like, okay, make an entire chapter of my webcomic. No, sometimes it'll be like, sketch these characters, make the layout, sketch page 1. Just take a look at, okay, in the next 5 minutes, what can I start to do? And if you start to take a look at where can I start to go? Where can I start to channel all my energy? A beautiful thing happens, my friend. You start to build momentum like a train taking off. Chugga, 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 chugga. You know, that's exactly what momentum is. It's from you going from a completely stop state and then you slowly moving that power towards you actually completing tasks. And again, oftentimes we're gonna take a look at the entirety of the task and be like, oh my God, it's gonna take so much time to do this. But listen, that's where a force that we're gonna talk about in a minute comes into play here, and I'm gonna teach you how to combat it, but you just need to focus on how do I build momentum? Because if you're focused on just little efforts and just doing little bits at a time, you are gonna be able to blast through it. And so just thinking about how you can gain momentum, much like if you have a stopped car and you have to push it up a hill, it's gonna suck at first, but then the more little efforts that you execute, the closer you're gonna get to your goal. How's that sound? Now, the next thing you want to do in order to beat your procrastination is hit that like and subscribe, because I'm here for you every week to give you practical, actionable tips so that you can be the artist that you want to be, and I know that you can. And if this is helping you, please share it with somebody that you know. And now, learn about this too. Now, I want to introduce this concept to you that is really revolutionary, and I think it's going to help you better frame your entire approach as you're going to get into this. So oftentimes when we're too focused on how we feel, we're gonna be focusing on all of these doubts and anxieties and reasons to feel depressed about ourselves. And that just relates to this concept of what's called being on self, being on purpose. And when you're on self, you're just consumed by what you're currently thinking and feeling. But all of that, I just want to let you know, friend, it's never going to help you. You will never, ever grow. You will never ascend to the level that you want to by giving into your fear, by giving into your doubt, by giving into your anxieties, by giving into your depressive modes and thoughts. And we're going to talk a little bit about why that's so prevalent in a few minutes. But for right now, I just want you to understand, like, that's just you being on self. In the present moment, you don't want to do it. So versus on purpose, this is going to shift your perspective so that you understand that everything that you're doing is part of a greater purpose. So what is your purpose, my friend? Is it that you want to go ahead and you want to create that comic book? Is it that you want to start to develop your own IP with your own original characters into it? Is it that you want to start to create some major illustrations and attract some freelance work? And that is your purpose in this life, because you feel a really deep and meaningful resonance with what you're doing. You like that work. It's not that you don't like it, you love it. But again, you care a little bit too much and you're afraid it's not going to work out for you. But that fear is what's holding you back from doing it. And instead of you shifted to, no, this is my purpose. I want to do this because this labor will relate to my purpose and my mission of doing this. And just to put this into perspective for you, like for those of you that are parents like me, I don't come home from a bad day of work and my kids are like, Daddy, 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 we're hungry. Can you feed us? I'm like, no, Daddy's not feeling it today. I don't know. I'd rather play video games. Like, we ate yesterday. Do we have to do that again? No, because my mission is to be a provider for them. Nor are you at work and your boss is like, hey, I need that report now. And you're like, oh, I don't know. I'm not really in a good frame of mind for this one. That's not what you do, because your mission there is to be a contributor for that company, for that business, and to provide for your family, or at least for yourself if you're an individual, okay? So if you shift yourself to, I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for a greater good, and I see myself as part of a grander scheme. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. So the next time you start to procrastinate, I want you to ask yourself, am I paying attention to myself or am I paying attention to my purpose? And here's what you can do to start to knock into that too. Now, in battling your procrastination, there's a really big omnipresent force that you're probably not aware of, but it's literally influencing you. And I just want to be honest and just say that every single time that I start any project, I have intense dread and anxiety. I don't know if I can do it. I'm not sure about it. I'm afraid that the client's not gonna like it. I'm afraid I'm not gonna like it, or it's not gonna be enjoyable, or I'm gonna have to make a bunch of changes to it, or what if my vision gets tainted? I feel all of that every single time. And I've been doing this for over a decade, and it never goes away. So if you're feeling this, my friend, let me just tell you, it's nothing special. It's not unique to you. It's literally in every single artist, and especially me. But the reason why we feel that way is this pretty basic force that's called resistance. And anything that you want to do that's really going to be something that you should do in your life is going to be met with resistance. And that's going to be why it's so hard for you to get into it. Because when you actually set yourself on a path, you start to feel this force that's like, no, not today. No. Let's do that instead. No. This isn't the right time. It's not the right moment. It's not the right time in your life. Oh my God, you're so busy. Oh, you don't feel good. Oh, you're so tired all the time. You are going to come up with so many reasons for you not to do it. And that is this force of resistance for you, okay? And this is heavily detailed in the Stephen Pressfield book, The War for Art. And I really recommend you give it a read because I think it'll blow your mind. But the issue with that is that, just like I said earlier, that you should make 5-minute decisions to establish momentum, giving into resistance establishes negative momentum. And when you have negative momentum, it doesn't become easier for you to make decisions and to actually make productive efforts. It becomes easier for you to not. And every single time that you give into this, you're developing a habit of you giving up on yourself and you giving up on your dreams and you living a life that's honestly a lot less than what you're capable of. So do you want that, friend? Because what I want to let you know is that there's no real obstacles, but you're going to come up with a plethora of obstacles, and they're all invented ones, and we'll talk about that in a minute as to why. Now, can we be really honest? So when you say that you're a procrastinator and you adopt that title, you don that mantle of it, you're not doing nothing, are you, friend? No. What are you doing? And that's something that I think is heavily overlooked by you, okay? And at the core of why it's so hard for procrastinators to get over their procrastinating habits, and first off, you do have to identify it's a habit. It's not a nature. You're doing something else, aren't you? You're not just saying, I'm gonna procrastinate on this today, or maybe you're not even thinking that. Maybe you're just feeling so overwhelmed by your doubts that you start to do what? You channel your energy elsewhere. No, I'm gonna take a nap. No, I'm gonna play video games. No, I'm gonna watch this show. No, I'm gonna watch Netflix instead. No, I'm gonna do this or that. There we go. You see what you just did there? What you just did is you overindulged in your emotions. And why is that? Because we as human beings, we are complete gluttons for comfort, and you're nothing special on that note. Because what happens very naturally is that you're gonna take a look at that task and say, that sounds hard. Video games are so fun. You're gonna go ahead and switch that task, switch that energy, rechannel that, divert all of your interest, divert all of your energy into something that you really know it doesn't matter. You beating Elden Ring, nobody cares. You're not that impressive, but you view that as, oh, that's so much better. That's so much more fun. I can do that. That's gonna be comforting. This, I don't know if it's gonna be comforting. I don't know if anyone's gonna buy my stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna sell anything on my Etsy shop. I don't know if anyone's gonna wanna hire me. And this all stems from this mindset that's really pervasive that a lot of people promote nowadays, which is this object of self-care where you're just like, oh, well, I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like I'm in a good mindset. I don't feel like this is the right thing for me to do, or I'm just not in a good mode of thought today, so I just shouldn't do it. To combat that, that's not actually self-care. That's self-coddling, okay? And this is pretty well documented. It's not just my opinion on the matter. But when you're in this mode, it's just you giving into your impulses. It's just you feeding into whatever whim that you happen to feel like. And if you really want to beat your procrastination, you have to beat your whims. You can't just treat art like it's something that you do when you feel like it, like it's just some flippant hobby, especially if you have something really deep and meaningful. And this also ties into that being on self or being on purpose, because if you're on self, yeah, you're totally overindulgent in your emotional state. You're overindulgent into your comfort too, versus you're on purpose. You have to realize that if you're on purpose, you're going to have to go through some type of voluntary suffering for it, because you can go ahead and suffer a little bit now and enjoy a lot later, or you can enjoy a little bit now and have it suck a lot later. Which one do you want? Now, contributing to how you're going to get over this is the fact that you're maybe not considering how your actions will contribute to the greater good. And what I mean by that is just the world. Like, you making any type of artistic product, you making any type of artistic effort doesn't just affect you. What I want to really urge you to consider is this question: why are you doing what you're doing? Why? And you need to have a deep reason why. Kevin Hart says that if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. And one of the strategies that I typically employ with people in my mentorship that are kind of struggling with procrastinating, or if they're not sure why they're doing what they're doing, or if they're not sure if they really want to dedicate themselves, is I have them go through the strategy, which is called an onion. When you think of an onion, it's got multiple layers to it. Really easy to do is you just go ahead and you write at least 7 lines. It can be greater than that, but no more than 10, okay? And you just want to go ahead and ask yourself, why? Why is this important? And then question it again. Why is that important? And then question that. Why is that important? And you need to avoid surface level answers. So just to give you an example here, I'm going to tell you some of the worst reasons why people think that they want to make what they want to make. Okay. So here's a good one. So you might say, well, I want to make art so that I can make everybody in the world happy. No, you won't. You won't. You can't affect everybody. All right. You're not a wizard, friend. You can't make everybody happy. Terrible reason. Or how about this? I want to be a freelancer so that I can make money. Okay, but we're still surface level here. You're not telling me what the greater good, and it doesn't focus onto you. Or how about this, Jim? I want to start an art YouTube channel so I can make money and start a Patreon. Okay, that's the worst, most surface level reason, and I can tell you that's why you're going to quit your channel, because I've seen it. All of these, they don't actually relate to you. A why has to do with something deep and selfish within you. I know we think of selfishness as a pejorative nowadays, but it's not. You do have to care for yourself, and there has to be a deep, meaningful connection to it. And I'm just gonna give you an example. You want an example? Here we go. The reason why I create my YouTube content is because I view this, and I've gone through this entire process too. I view my YouTube channel right now as my living memorial, because one of the things I think is really sad and tragic is that when people die, you tend to forget about them, don't you? You forget about what they look like, what they sound like, how they think, how they act, okay? But for me, putting my processes and putting my content and putting my knowledge out here is also a way for me to continuously, infinitely, so long as this platform exists, connect with my sons. Because I don't want them to forget. God forbid anything tragic were to happen to me, they would be able to log on here and watch endless hours of death. And they would never be able to forget what I look like, what I sound like, what I act like, how I think, what are my attitudes, what are my wisdoms in life I can share with them. And that is one of the things that I came to as far as why I'm putting out this content for you right now. And if you're enjoying this, by the way, please hit that like and subscribe button, because I would love to help and affect you in the similar way with that. But if you have a really deep-seated why are you doing this, it becomes almost impossible for you not to pursue it. How's that sound? Now, there's 2 people that I'm going to speak to right now, and I'm definitely going to address you because you exist somewhere in here. Because, man, it is so easy to just say, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow, another time, yada, yada. And here's why. It's because you have too much comfort and you live very unstructured. So here are the 2 groups that we're going to be in. Do you work a full-time job, or do you just work in general? If you're working 9 to 5 and then you're coming home and you're not doing anything for yourself from 6 to 11, you're making somebody else's dream come true and you're sacrificing yours. Conversely, if you are somebody right now who is unemployed, maybe you live at home with your parents, maybe you're too young to move out on your own watching this, or maybe you're somebody, you've fallen on some hard times. I'm sorry to hear about that. But if you have an unstructured day and you're not pursuing the things, you got to take a look at this. That's your fault. It's accountability. And it's also a matter of conditioning too, to think that you need to live your life in servitude to other people and give up yourself. And you're choosing to do that. And so what I want to introduce to you is that if you have a more accountable vision of yourself, that is not a bad thing. People don't like to be accountable, but here's the thing. Accountability brings you freedom. It brings you accomplishment. It brings you focus. It brings you determination. It brings you, what's that special word you love to hear? Motivation. You need to have an extreme accountability vision of yourself. When you succeed, that's your fault. When you don't stick to any type of a schedule, that's your fault too. Are you scheduling time for your artwork? Yes or no? Are you actually going through with that? Yes or no? Because it either is your fault or it's nobody else's fault. You can't sit there and blame, well, I couldn't do it today. Okay, great. Can you make it up throughout the week? So one of the best things that you can do on this note is take a look at your schedule. Think about it like this. How many hours do I want to spend making artwork? But then two, you have to sit there and say, how much time am I completely throwing away and wasting? How much time am I spending online? How much time am I wasting my time playing video games? How much time am I wasting my time watching Netflix? How much time am I spending scrolling through my phone? Honestly, take a good, honest look at yourself. And if your screen report trumps the amount of time that you spent on your artwork, whose fault is it really? I mean, let's be adults about it. We can do better. And I know you can too. Now, a key thing that you gotta know, and this is gonna contrast a lot of what you probably heard, but it's totally true. And I think one of the best popular media examples of this is an Inside Out 2. So if you've seen Inside Out 2, it introduces the character of anxiety, which you're feeling a lot of right now as you're a procrastinator. And there's one particular scene where all the characters have to go to like anxiety's main base of operation. And where is that? In the imagination. And so what this relates to is just the fact that you have to realize that anxiety is a natural instinct. It's a fear-based instinct that's supposed to keep you alive. But we don't have, most of the time at least, a lot of mortal threats in our life. Like, please correct me if I'm wrong. Does anybody have to worry about walking outside their house and being mauled by a saber-tooth tiger? Because I hope not. If that's not you, friend, realize this. Your anxiety exists in your imagination. Your anxiety is real to the degree that you give it power over you. Your anxiety is something that you can address, you can get better with, you can learn to control. It's not a deficiency in your character. It's not a deficiency in you as a person either. It is not something that is crippling, nor are you damned to just have to suffer through it for the rest of your life. And if we learn that when you feel the anxiety that you're not going to do that thing, you're not going to accomplish it, that you're always going to be what your mom or dad said you would or wouldn't be, then that is a story. And it's a story that you narrate to yourself. It's a story you construct. It's like a bad movie that you just play in your head over and over and over again, even though you know it sucks and you know how it ends. And one of the things I want to introduce to you is the idea that anxiety and progress are oppositional forces. They can't exist together. They won't exist because you have to choose which side is going to win every single time that you have that opportunity to work on yourself and to work towards your goals. Even though I have learned through my processes, and if you want to learn what those processes are, let me know down below, I'll make a video about it. I've learned how to battle through all my anxieties through my artwork, even though, like I said, I feel it heavily at the start of every project. But if you want to be the person who is able to accomplish the things that you want to do, and you're feeling crippled, you're feeling like a victim of this, I just want to release you from that, friend. That's the story that you tell yourself because why? Because it's easier for you not to make progress and to shield yourself from disappointment rather than maybe experience it a little bit as you're starting out your project and growing it through it. Because comfort, we are complete gluttons for it versus discomfort. Now, throughout this entire video, we've been talking a lot and I've been dancing around this big major topic. And you're probably familiar with this, especially around this time of the year, of your goals, right? And I bet you have great goals. I bet you have great things you want to accomplish. But I just want to let you know, your goals probably suck. It's probably something that you've never been actually instructed on. How do you do this? What is an effective goal? What's an ineffective goal even too? And to help you out with that, I made this entire video right here. So go ahead and go check it out. And if this helped you, please share it with somebody that you know. Thanks and see you next time.